Really? You mean the great, was that Musiala? He didn't score 5 goals?
Oh, no, he was injured.
Okay, how could that be?
I don't know. The magician himself.
So what's the word?
Nothing much. Just got some chores taken care of. So
did you go out last night or what?
No. I stayed home. The Germany was playing Portugal in the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Germany lost.
Really? You mean the great, was that Musiala? He didn't score 5 goals?
Oh, no, he was injured.
Okay, how could that be?
I don't know. The magician himself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. I thought that was an impossibility.
Yeah. How could they survive? Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst German team I've watched in my life.
So is Ronaldo, is he still with the team?
He scored the winner.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. That was 2-1. Yep.
They were, for a while, they were saying he was washed up, right?
Yeah. And even, I couldn't really hear it in the stream, but they were saying that a few times when they showed him on the screens in the stadium, that some of the fans, I think they were the Portuguese, started to boo him a bit. So,
really?
Yeah, but he scored the winner. So,
well, he shut them up.
yeah. So Portugal moves on to the final. Spain is playing France tonight. So that will decide the other semifinal. And
Oh, that should be a good game, Spain, France.
Yeah. Right now, I say Spain has the best team in the world. And they're on a roll. I don't think they've lost. I don't remember them losing a friendly or national. Did they? No, they went Nations League unbeaten, 5 wins, 1 draw out of 6 games. Yeah, they beat the Netherlands on penalties. Yeah, they're just on a roll.
Yeah, we've said that both about the women's and the men's team, that Spain might beat the #1 country overall in the world when it comes to football or soccer, depending on what country you're in. But yeah, Spain is the place to be right now.
Yeah. I mean, this is just the furthest back that this page goes, but they at least have it off since June 5th of last year. So it's the 5th today. So they've gone a year unbeaten. Yeah, they're pretty good. And this is pretty much a year exactly to the World Cup. So to me, it's just, unless something crazy happens, because even their last few World Cup qualifiers, they had to play Bulgaria twice. They played Georgia and Turkey. So they're going to do just fine, unless there's some crazy injuries or something like that.
Yeah, well, one of the key factors is the years before, when we were watching Spain after their one golden team, we were talking about how they didn't really have a good striker, a #1 striker, but now they do. So I think that's made a huge difference when they're playing.
And they have a balanced attack, like we were watching in the Euros when you have Nico Williams and Jamal on both wings.
Yeah.
I mean, this last season, some people say that Jamal is at least top 5 player in the world already at 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just insane. And they have the midfielders, they have the defenders, they have a decent goalie. It's just a well-balanced team in every area.
Yeah, the scary thing for all the other teams is that it's a young team overall as well.
Oh, yeah. The oldest position is goalkeeper, but we know goalkeepers can go until their 40s.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, there's just not a weak spot in that team.
Yeah. So for other teams like Germany, who who we thought, if you would have asked, like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago or whatever, the new players that were coming into Germany, we would say, all right, we see the next generation coming for Germany. It never materialized.
No, that's what they were talking about at the beginning of the broadcast, because it was Kimmich's 100th game with the national team, and he's the captain now of the team. And they were asking him in an interview before the game, kind of the highlights of his time with the national team. And he said when they won that Confederations Cup all the way back in 2017 before the World Cup. And that was really it, because in that time, they've gone out of the World Cup in the group stage the last 2 times. The Euros have been insignificant. They lost to England in like the round of 16 in 2020. And then they got beat by Spain in the last Euros in Germany. So it's been by the time that the World Cup happens next year, it will be a decade of failure, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's easy to see why, and we know that because it's really been one reason. And why is that?
Coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. And I was watching the game, and they cut out kind of the nonsense players. Excuse me. They cut out the nonsense players where, oh, well, the dribbling Musial wasn't there, which was an upgrade, in my opinion. They had Goretzka back in the starting midfield, and they had Sane out there. But Sane, he's kind of dipped again.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
There's just no consistency with that. It's just and then I'm trying to see if I can find the lineup to see the official way that they had the teams on the field. Okay, well, yeah, they're showing him as a striker. There's the new, supposed to be the next generation striker, Nick Voltemade, he's tall. He's really tall. So it all kind of made sense. You can look at it and see that, okay, they have a real striker out there. They have Kimmich not playing at right back. Sane's in kind of an attacking midfield, wide winger position, and Verts, but they're just not that good.
Yeah.
I mean, and now you don't really have that Bayern core to the team because, okay, Kimmich and Goretzka were out there, and Sane was. But I think those were the only, Tall, Koch, Anton, Mittelstadt, and Pavlovic. Yeah, those 4 Bayern players out there on the team. I mean, oh no, they were playing Kimmich a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. When they really lost their field general in Mueller. And that was another big mistake with as far as the coaching. You got to have a real leader out there. And is Neuer still going?
No, he retired, so it's just now.
Yeah. I mean, you've lost your field generals. You got poor coaching. It's easy to see why Germany's not a good team.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. Ter Stegen has been playing so bad. Barcelona is signing a new goalkeeper to replace him.
Wow.
So he's gone. He'll be leaving. So Ter Stegen isn't even Ter Stegen from 2019 or anything. So Neuer finally retires, and Ter Stegen has just decided to become mid-level Bundesliga goalkeeper quality at best. And yeah, I mean, you can't tell me that the only player, Kimmich, we know can be a great player. But again, when you're playing him kind of off to the side of the midfield, that's not his position. But because Germany can't produce a good right back, they just say, oh, well, he can play right back. Yeah, and Voltemade, as good as he is, I mean, he scored I think he reached double digits for Stuttgart in this Bundesliga season, but he's up and coming. It's just not a good team.
Yeah, I mean, but you got, even with Germany, there's got to be good players out there. There's no doubt. So, I mean, you got to, you got to get a solid coach, and we know who that would have been.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
you got to start with the right coach, and then you got to get the right group of players together. You can't, like we've talked about many times before, you can't build a team on talent. You got to build a team on chemistry. What works well. That's the way to build a team.
Exactly. Yeah, and there are good players. I mean, when you watch the Bundesliga, there are good up and coming players. It is a generational change where there are some players that have to establish themselves. But even like you use it from field general, you do expect to have those established players, the Kloses, the Schweinsteigers, as well as his name, Mertesacker, in defense. It's the only one that's really there is Kimmich, because Kimmich is practically 30 now. So he's into that phase of his career. Goretzka, yeah, but that's it. I mean, it used to be half the team. And then because Germany was trying to find a goal to equal the game. And when I saw in 2025, when I saw Adeyemi and Gnabry come on as the difference makers, I put my hands up. I mean, those aren't the players that are good anymore. Yeah. Yeah, they need to. This is one of those situations where they need to cut off kind of those players that they expect to be at a high level. So they've played consistently with the national team, but they're 28, 29 now, like Gnabry, where they're not progressing any further, and they've never really done anything significant for the national team in the first place, and give that spot to one of the better performing yet unproven Bundesliga players, because there is still a year before the World Cup. I mean, this is the time to do it, to get those guys into the next games over the next season. I don't want to see Gnabry on a national team squad again. What else do they have here? Yeah, Adeyemi can go. I laughed when I saw Gosens come on as a substitute.
Yeah, Gosens. We saw him at that one tournament. He played great. Mm-hmm. He just played great, and then that was it.
Yeah, not to be fair, he did have a good season with Fiorentina in Italy, but it just doesn't translate with the national team anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a 34-year-old Pascal Gross on the bench for your defensive midfield option. Yeah, they got to go. They got to refresh the team. And even the new defense, where they're all pretty relatively new guys. They're establishing themselves as the new leaders of the defense. Taw's like 29 now. Koch is 28, 29. Anton, I think, is 30. So the new guys aren't even that young either. Yeah, it's a weird situation for Germany. But unless they adjust, I don't see whatever the groups at the World Cup will be. I think a lot of teams will be pretty happy to see Germany in their group at the next World Cup, which is a sad thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah, until they can, because who's their current coach? It's still, what's his name?
Nagelsmann, the old Bayern coach. Yep. Who Bayern tried to get back to be their coach. And the German Federation sat him down and said, oh, this and that, and give you this. And they convinced him to say, so the Federation says, this is our guy. We're happy with him. We fought Bayern up to keep him. And he's supposed to be that generational German coach. The guy is still like 36, 37 or something. So, but it's been the last Euros. I don't care what people said. Germany was not that good. They just watched Musiala dribble past two guys to get tackled by the third and said, oh, check it out, dude. Yeah. I mean, your goalkeeping options are Ter Stegen, who's washed up, Nübel, who is Bayern has been loaning out for the last 4 or 5 seasons to be Neuer 2.0, and it's never happened, which is why he's still on loan And every time I watch him play, we've seen him play. If he makes some huge error, and then your third option is like a 33-year-old Bauman who's playing for Hoffenheim. Yeah, it's just not that good.
Yeah, you got to start with chemistry, man. It's not the players, and as far as the coaching, we need to look back at the Denver Broncos and what was his name?
Oh boy,
the coach that took over for Mike Shanahan from New England. That guy in the first round of the draft, he drafted the great and infamous Tebow.
The illustrious Tim Tebow. What was his McCarthy or
no?
It's gonna bother me. Yeah, he's supposed to be some genius.
Well, he was. He was the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, and he was great. He was great as an offensive coordinator. But it just goes to show there's a world of difference between being a tactician like that and being a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. And when we're talking about Germany's head coach, the guy may be a great tactician or whatever, but that doesn't mean you're going to be a great coach.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You got to be able to do both.
Josh McDaniels. There he is.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, exactly. And I'm trying to remember if Nagelsmann, when he was at Leipzig, if they even won the German Cups when he was there. I think it was just kind of a reputational thing. I don't think he technically won anything. Did he? Yeah, he didn't even win anything. He won the one Bundesliga with Bayern that one season, and he won 2 German Super Cups. So, I mean, it's kind of, he's gotten these jobs off of reputation alone, where every job at some point he should hit his peak. It should all vibe.
In our team is the Dallas Cowboys. Who was that one coach? They said, "Oh, every year they pick the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, this is their year. This is their year."
Yeah, I'm sure they're still doing it there in the U.S. Yeah, he was the younger guy with like the red hair. Yeah,
yeah. And who was the quarterback? They said, "Oh, holy cow, we're going all the way 4 straight Super Bowls with the great." Who was it?
Tony Romo. I remember his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't escape. You couldn't escape that name in just U.S. culture for a while. Tony Romo. Oh no! Watch out! It's Tony Romo. And then the guy, like, he's fleeced like CBS or something. He got like some mega broadcasting contract, commentary contract. The guy never won anything. It's incredible how far people can get off the reputation.
And then you had a quarterback like Joe Flacco, right? Mm-hmm. And he could have had, I think, his career could have lasted longer, I think. But for about 4 years, when we were following the Baltimore Ravens, they had a hell of a team. Yeah, he only won one Super Bowl in that time span, but they were in the AFC Championship game almost every year. He took them there almost every year, but he was drafted what in the draft? Yeah,
like 3rd round or something. No, first round, 18th.
Oh, okay. So
he's still playing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is it? He's still playing, huh?
Yeah, he's 40. Yeah, he's at the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, I would have thought he would have retired, but
no. When you search his name, one of the headlines articles is Joe Flacco defies Father Time. I'm going to win this mantra in Browns QB competition. Yeah.
Oh, well, good for Joe Flacco, but he was a quarterback. A lot of people didn't believe in, but they had a solid coach. I don't remember who the coach was at Baltimore at that time, but a team is all about chemistry. And speaking of the NFL, nobody understood that better than Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
Though we question what went behind the scenes with the Patriots, but the guy knew how to build a team based on chemistry. He wasn't concerned about, they're the most talented player out there. He was what players can I put together that are going to play well together? Yeah, and then when you have a coach like Josh McDaniels, a good tactician, a play developer, yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's what they're suited for. But don't put somebody like that as a head coach, because there's a whole lot more that goes into coaching than just developing plays. And who I always said one of the best coaches of all time in any sport was who?
Coach?
Yeah.
I was named Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson, man. Because he knew how the mental part of the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Belichick is now he's now the head coach of North Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And apparently he's 73 years old. He has a 24-year-old girlfriend. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Phil Jackson, for a time, he dominated that space.
Yeah, I mean, the Zen master, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil Jackson, man. Because he won titles with both the Chicago Bulls and the Lakers, right? That was both the teams, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only coach to win at least 10 championships in any of North America's major professional sports. To put it in perspective, he won 11 as a coach. And the other big four sports, the records are 6 in the NFL, 9 in the NHL, and 7 in the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he won 2 as a player. So there's even that.
Yeah. So if you're going to look for a coach, a message to the German national team, you got to look for a coach that understands all the aspects of the game.
Yeah.
And that coach would have been, I think, I have no doubt. What's his name?
Klopp.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's the thing with I didn't watch a million Leipzig games when he was there, but Leipzig, the Red Bull model, it always focuses more on the attack, the more exciting vision of the game. And that's fine, especially when you can buy your own players like you can at a club. But when you're managing a national team, where you have to kind of work with the pieces that are available in a given generation, you can't have a coach that's so unbalanced with his tactics, and he just doesn't seem like a national team manager to me. I mean, you went to Leipzig, with the Red Bull money, you have them qualify for the Champions League, which, okay, good, but you had the Red Bull money, and then you jumped to Bayern. You won 1 Bundesliga with Bayern, which in that decade, I mean, was the bare minimum, with Bayern's finances being so far away from everybody else's in the league. And then you never even won a German Cup with Bayern. I mean, I think that was no, it wasn't. I mean, that should have said everything, because what matters with the national teams is the cup style events where you only have 7 games or something, and you couldn't even do that. It's just not going to work. Just not.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about Phil Jackson, going back to him real quick, is you could almost put any players on that team and he would have made it work. Because that's the thing about Phil Jackson when he coached, he had great players. I mean, some of the best players in the world on that team, but he had them play as a team. That's the thing. So he could do both. So it's not to say like a team like Germany, okay, let's just round up the best players we can. But if you have the right coach, they can make it work.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So it's not to say like, oh, let's not worry about getting the number 1, number 2 player here. Well, I'm not saying that. It's a matter of can if you bring those players on the team, are you going to be able to make them play well together? That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's no, because even when you look at the game that happened last night, they didn't even have their best players in some position out there. Really, the only one that, okay, yeah, because everybody believes in him, Musial wasn't out there, which, in my opinion, is a benefit, but everybody else says, oh, he would have changed the game. So Musial and Rudiger wasn't in the defense, but Rudiger is 33, 34 now too.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be there forever. And Musial would have replaced Sané, which, I mean, you don't get the sense when you watch this team. And the other part, yeah, I mean, like you said, they have to want to play together, play for each other. And even when you watch Bayern, I mean, you don't, with most of the team, it's a different generation. I don't think Phil Jackson would have really worked in like the modern NBA. Well, he did it. I mean, he retired and then he went into management, like club management, and he was dismal. I mean, they were chasing him out of New York City with the Knicks. I think it was horrible. That generation of athletes is gone, where it is much more. This is a trend that a lot of people have been talking about with football, is that the bottom line is a lot of the players are just much more selfish.
Yeah.
They're just much more individual minded. And it's kind of one of those things where when it clicks, then you can get 7-8 games, not out of luck, but just out of circumstance where it runs together. Like we were watching the French team in the last Euros, they couldn't buy a goal. I mean, Mbappe and was Giroud still on the team? Was he? I think he was. Dembele, Griezmann. Griezmann was probably the worst defender of all of them because he had point blank shots and the guy couldn't hit one to save his life. They're just a bunch of individuals. You watch the French team, it's like, oh, this is the French identity and this is how we're going to play. No, the only team that I'll give it, there's 3 teams I say that still have that: Spain, Italy, and England. For the most part, I think England still has that, even though I just don't like the team. But yeah, Germany, you can't tell me when you watch Musiala, but he's a team player.
Yeah,
he's not. Wirtz, yeah, he's more productive. But it's just not at the same level that the last World Cup generation and even some of the bits that I've watched from the previous World Cups before I started watching them when I was alive. It was just a different era. They were just bigger fighters. And so as soon as the wind kind of goes against them, as soon as the current goes against them, they think in their heads, okay, I have to do everything. No, you don't. Just make a pass. Make a smart pass.
Yeah, well, that was one of the big knocks we had against Musiala because he never passed the ball. He tried to do everything himself. I mean, you're talking about football 101. I mean, that's the main thing. You get the ball to the open player. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. Unless you're Suarez and you can pass it yourself and zoom past the player and score.
Yeah. I was, because they were talking about Musiala during the game yesterday and how he was missing. And I just happened to see this stat in the last World Cup. This shows kind of how he plays in the system. Germany goes out in the last World Cup at the group stage. And then the last game in that group against Costa Rica, which they needed to win by multiple goals, but they ended up drawing 2-2 in like the 70th minute. They finally won, but it was too late. In that game, he completed 13 dribbles, which was 2 shy of the individual game record set in 1994 by J.J. Okocha, who had 15. You need to score 4 goals. Why are you dribbling everybody? Pass the ball. Mm. So and there are some coaches and people in the federation or just in kind of the German sport culture right now that they've been saying that. And I do get it when I look at the up and coming players right now, where they're a bit soft, where they're much more. Everybody wants to be a flair player, but sometimes you just need your central midfielder to just make a tackle, and nobody aren't that many players that want to do that. So if everybody's spinning around doing rainbow flips over their heads, if everybody wants to be Neymar, then guess what? Brazil hasn't won anything since 2002. And Germany they've been one of the few countries that has avoided that mentality. That's up to the coaches. Not even before you get to the senior national team, it's up to the federation to appoint the right under 23s, 21s, all the way down to make sure that they kind of cut that stuff out before it gets up to the senior team. Because by then, it's kind of a little too late. There's very few players that really reinvent their game in that kind of.
Yeah. In stark contrast, you look at the Spain national team right now. It's like night and day. When we watched, it was in the Euros, when we watched Spain then, I mean, they played so great as a team. I mean, and I think, I know I did. I picked it right off the bat. I saw in Spain, I said, they're going to win it all. I mean, you could just see it right away. I ain't seen a team play like that since the early those early days with Barcelona when they had the three amigos.
Exactly. Yeah, it hasn't been replicated since. I remember it was the second goal that Spain scored. It was Nico Williams. Yamal passed it to him, but you could see the goal from the other side of the play because they were just passing, and there was no way that he could keep up with it. And that's the thing with the Spanish style of play is they're too busy passing to do skilled moves. They're too busy getting back in formation. And their style, their tactics require them to play as a team. Because the whole point is to kick it to him, pass it to him, and then just let him run for 40 meters. No.
Yeah.
Pass the ball, hit the spaces. Instead, it's the right way to play. I don't understand how that's been lost. With Löw, before Nagelsmann, well, there was Flick too. Löw at the end, he was just stubborn. He lost touch with the game. And like I said, with Flick, as soon as Werner's ankle or whatever had an injury, his mind just popped and he didn't know how to handle the situations anymore. Nagelsmann, I just think he fits in with the current generation of players. He's perfect for the generation, but he's not the right coach to actually get them to win things. Because even he draws attention to himself. That was one thing at Bayern. I think I mentioned that before at Bayern that irritated the higher ups at the club is the guy would come in like skateboarding to work, everything to train.
Yeah,
and it's just at the time, okay, he was like 33, 32, and then there was this whole, I guess, like his girlfriend was a reporter or something that was covering the team, and I don't know. He himself is a bit of a attention magnet.
Yeah.
It's just not a good situation. So they need to get rid of Nagelsmann, which they're not going to do. He's going to be the coach of the next World Cup. At the very least, he needs to cut off the 28 plus age players that, like, if I ever see Brandt play on a national team game again, I'll just turn it off. I don't want to see Brandt, Adeyemi, Gnabry. At this point, even Sane, when you just keep waiting again, it's like, oh, maybe he'll have those 3 or 4 months where everything clicks again. He hasn't even signed a contract extension at Bayern, and his contract is expiring like right now. There was rumors about him going to Roma, actually, potentially.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the thing about Sane. It's mental with him. it's mental. I don't think he's happy. Well, obviously, because of the reality is, particularly with a player like Sane, when you're on a team like that continually fails, and you knew that you should have won, you should have done well. I just don't think mentally he's got the heart anymore for that term because he doesn't believe in the team. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So I think if he went to a place like Roma, he might get back on track. Hopefully he would. Yeah. I mean, that would be a great add-on for Roma.
Yeah, right now, this last article that came out is Tottenham offered something to him, not interested. The other official offers that he's turned down came from Galatasaray in Turkey and Saudi Arabia, which he said no. And if you really want to kill your career, according to this page, he would consider, because there's been some sort of interest, apparently he would consider a move to Arsenal, where they win everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs to, maybe he does need to. At Bayern, it's just not working. They need that. We talked about that 2 years ago. They need to change all of their rules, really. And Gnabry's not doing anything. Coman isn't doing it. Sane, who's almost 30 now, isn't doing anything consistent. Just let those two go. And find the next generation. Go to Roma. Come to Roma. We'll take you over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really shocked when you told me that about Roma, how they just went on that long. Because I remember one or two of the early games with them, and I was so disappointed because I thought Roma had built a really good team that for at least a couple of years, and they dismantled it right away. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
And then
it's one of those.
Yeah, and then when they went on that long winning streak, I go, holy cow, maybe they got back on track. Dybala's still there, right?
Yeah, Dybala is still there. It was even more impressive because it was unfortunate because he got taken out by somebody. And so he was out for the rest of the year, the last couple of games. And they just missed Champions League qualification by 1 point. They have a good team. They have a really good team now. The coaching has showed that. What the difference was the coaching. And so they have their next coach lined up. The coach from Atalanta, Gasperini, who I'm very excited because he took Atalanta from being a second division team to Champions League regulars. He's worked with Dybala before at one of their previous clubs. They need to they have their new starting goalkeeper, who a lot of people are saying is a top 5 goalkeeper in the world. I agree with that. He's developed. He's been there for a few years, but they have all the pieces right now. They need to extend 1 or 2 contracts. They just need to keep the team together. That's all they need to do. I mean, when they lost only 1 game where is it? Yeah, from match day 17 to the last one, 38, they lost 1 game. The players are there. They just need the coach. That's all they need. Yeah. And then add a couple pieces onto it. You can add a Sane type player into the mix. Yeah, that's all you need to do.
So who's the striker there right now?
So their new striker is Dovbyk, who's a Ukrainian striker. He was not this. Well, this was his first season, but the previous season he was the top scorer in La Liga. So very good striker, kind of the old school target forward. He's not a dribbler or anything, but he scored a good number of goals. He got 17 goals this season, which is a decent number for a player coming in his first season. Abraham is technically coming back from his loan from AC Milan, and I don't expect him to stay. So there's talk about actually them signing that Voltemato who started for Germany in this game yesterday, the target striker. The guy's 6'6", so
he's
yeah.
Holy cow, you put him and Abraham up front and a two striker because they're both tall.
And even Dovbyk himself is quite. Okay, Dovbyk is 6'2". Yeah, I mean there'd be plenty of height. There are some people that say that Abraham could fit into the new coach's tactics, which, if that's the case, we know how good Abraham can be.
Yeah, there's one thing I'll never knock Abraham for. I mean, his heart. I mean, he plays with a lot of heart, but it can be erratic. So he just needs to calm down. If he just calms down his game, I think he could still be really effective.
Yeah. Yeah, he just needs to not let the mistakes get to his head. How did he even do with Milan this season? He did. Yeah, in all competitions, he got 10 goals in 45 games. But to be fair, Milan were a shambles. They finished like 9th in the league. So who knows? Maybe coming back with a new coach that fits the tactics, fit his style. Maybe.
Yeah. So Roma looks like they could have a bright future.
Oh yeah, and then towards the end of the season, because Dybala got injured, and they signed Mathias Xulu from Juventus, who was supposed to be the Dybala next gen. He played like it. He was scoring free kicks and the dribbling and the kind of free floating position.
I heard. Dybala. Yeah, I heard that talk before with other players, like a player named Felix with Atletico.
Yeah. Who's now at Chelsea, but he did nothing with Chelsea, so they loaned him out to AC Milan for the second half of the season, who finished 8th in Serie A. Yeah. So he's at João Felix is the Portuguese Jadon Sancho. That's all he is. Yeah.
Yeah, but for 1 or 2 seasons we saw early in his career he was playing great.
Oh yeah.
And then
he was on top.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's a lot of players like that.
Oh yeah. That just burn out so fast.
Well, they sign that big contract, they go.
Yep.
They play no more.
Yep. And Sancho's the perfect example because it's so publicly documented that pretty much he went to Manchester United and he signed a big money contract, made the Premier League money. And then all of his friends, his party friends that were still in Manchester, he showed up with all the money and he said, "Hey, let's go out." Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. Yep.
Yeah, the love of the game, man. There's just not a lot of players out there that have, because there's the business side. That much is certain, but there's very few players that have that mentality like a Jerry Rice that's about their legacy, man. The Ronaldos, the Messi before what would be the word?
I mean, he just
gave up, whatever, lost that desire. But for a while, Messi was there. He was that style of player. And that's why those guys achieved so much. And when history 20 years from now, nobody's going to remember Neymar. Nobody's going to remember a lot of these players. They're going to remember Ronaldo. Messi will still be talked about, those players, because for them, it was the love of the game, their legacy, and it wasn't just about the money.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember, here's how I can find that quote real quick from Klose. This it here? Yeah. It's not the full quote, but it gets the point. Well, yeah, this is the full quote. Klose. He said this a few years ago about why he stopped playing. Because the guy played, I think he was 38, late 30s when he retired. And to this point, it's a short little quote. He said, "I said stop playing football because I no longer recognize it. Today, young players think about other things. As a child, I only thought about training and becoming someone in the sport that I always loved. At Lazio and in the national team after each training session, I put myself in a bathtub full of ice to avoid injuries, but the young players in the team systematically refused. When they saw me picking up the bag of balls to put them away at the end of training, they said to me, "But who tells you to do that?" At that moment, I said to myself, "You're 20 years old and you can't help a 60-year-old worker. They care more about whether their boots go with their socks." That's why I said stop. The football I do no longer exists. Today's young players think first of cars, contracts with their sponsors, and their new boots. It's only after all these things that football comes. For them, their image is the most important thing, whereas for me, all that mattered was football in its purest form.
Yeah.
And he said that a few years ago.
Yeah, that's why, like I said, my follow of sports altogether because of that. I mean, the lack of sportsmanship. It's a farce. You see all the signs hanging there in the soccer field about peace and no racial comments and so on and stuff. But it happens. It's all a farce. It's all what was. That's not right.
It's just a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For a lot of them, for the 90+%, whatever specific number somebody wants to give to it. Yeah. And it's one of those natural things where with most people in most industries, that is, the more commercial something becomes, the bigger the dollar amount becomes. Their mind goes more and more towards that instead of just the initial passion. And now, I mean, the football, even sports in general, sports has never been richer because of the media landscape, the interest, and the ability to follow multiple sports is easier than ever. So yeah, you get more and more mercenaries with it.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line. Yeah. Yeah. It's a sad thing. It's a sad thing. And even like you could turn this into a bigger conversation just about mass media in general, that it makes more money to just pump out a bunch of stuff as quickly as possible. And then you kind of pick up a little bit here and there from this and that. It's the same thing with this sport, because the hype that players get now because of social media and the flashiness, the agents, they can turn a lot of those players over for transfers quicker and quicker, but they burn out so fast. So yeah, it's a disappointing ecosystem in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's very difficult to follow sports. I'm not saying that even when I followed sports early on in the 80s and stuff, I mean, corruption has always been part of sports as long as sports has been around. I mean, that's nothing new.
Oh.
The corruption is one thing, but it's the lack of heart. That's the thing mostly is that desire to win. And I'm not saying that's the case with all players, because I know there's players out there that do play with heart. We see that on the Spain national team. We see those guys playing with some heart. So it's not everybody, and like I said, it's fan culture too, the way they are. So
yeah. We're still in that period where if you search for the bright side, the good side of the game, it's still there, but it's fading out more and more.
Yeah. With me, it was really messy, man. When I saw Messi falling off, and you could clearly tell he didn't have any heart, and when I go, man, then Ronaldo, he went to Saudi Arabia, and it's just like, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll still watch tournaments like the last World Cup. I'll say if I see another World Cup like the last one, that's it for me as far as World Cup, man.
Yeah, and I can say that I think comfortably now is that I look forward to the national game more than the club game most of the times, because in theory, they don't make as much money. The prize money is set. All of that isn't negotiable with the players. So they kind of just show up to those games for the legacy and the image on that side. But at some point, the pool of players is just going to turn into, if things keep going this way, it's just going to turn into an undesirable pool of players to watch. Because I don't want to watch 11 Lucy all the time. I just don't.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see how the World Cup is next year. We'll see how it goes. Where even I was watching, it was funny. It gave me a good laugh because the U.S. team, the men's team, they got embarrassed. Was it earlier this year? They played one of the North American competitions, which the U.S. should be winning or finishing second in pretty much anything, even with Canada. Now, they finished fourth. They lost to Panama, like a semifinal. They lost to Panama. They lost to Canada. And there were some real followers of the U.S. team that were saying, we don't even like these players anymore. Because before, and still with the U.S., because they're not some global power in the game, they said the one thing that we could always count on watching the game is that all 11 players were going to fight to win the game. Get something out of it. They were going to put everything into the game. And now they say, if you just outwork the players, if you just show a little more intensity, you're just going to run them over. So this next World Cup, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And it's expanded now. So, I mean, you're going to have Uzbekistan in the World Cup.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
But we got the women's Euros coming up here. We'll see if the women's German team, if they've been moderately successful. I mean, I forget. Yeah. Okay, they're always out, but I forgot what they won the Olympics that one year, right?
When the Olympics in 2016, they were unlucky with the last years because Pop got injured 3 minutes before the game.
Yeah.
That's just bad luck.
Yeah,
I don't blame them for that. The last World Cup they lost to. Who did they lose to?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It was forgettable.
Yeah. The last World Cup was a little iffy. In this last Olympics, they were just when the Pop was playing as a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, that was just poor coaching. I
had no clue what was going on there. And Pop is retired, so she's not.
Yeah, she played with a lot of heart, Pop.
Yeah, she was that previous. She belonged more to that previous generation.
Yeah.
Than the current one. Bad news was Oberdorf, their key defensive defenders. She still didn't recover from her knee ligament injury in time to be part of the squad. So that's the only notable injury that I'm aware of. Everybody else is fit. So they have a new coach. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. That's the thing on the women's side. You still see players playing with heart. That's the thing. Why? Because the big money isn't there.
Yeah. A lot of those women, they still have to do their university degrees on the side and all of that.
Yeah. So that's the state of Germany and Spain.
Yeah.
And the national teams. Two teams going two different directions.
Yeah. Maybe by 2030, Germany they'll have something half respectable. It's the 2030. Spain, Portugal. Yeah.
Not unless they get a new coach. As far as I'm concerned, you got to start there. So.
Yeah, we shall see.